So, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to the lab for another episode. So, today we're going to be looking for alternative ways to heat the shop, in which I am really excited about. But before we start this, before we actually get going with this experiment, I would like to pay homage to a few different people here. The guys down at my local Home Depot, I want to just pay homage to them. Tim, my lumber guy. What's up, Tim? Thank you so much for all of the lumber and hooking me up, man. I really appreciate you. Also, the guy who made this video possible, a gentleman by the name of John. That guy has patience of a saint. We spent a lot of time going through fittings and getting from point A to point B for this system that we are about to set up. I mean, we spent an absorbent amount of time, but we also had a great time doing it. He wasn't impatient. He really took the time. We went through it, went back through it, messed something up, reverse engineered the manifold, screwed that up, redid it. It was a great time. I had a lot of fun out there. So thank you very much, John. I really appreciate your time, man. I really do. My last shout out that I want to do is to SSL Family Dad. He's a YouTuber. I'm not too sure how to do all the linking of videos and all that stuff just yet. I haven't really looked into it. I'm not a video editor, so all my edits come out a little but you know, it is what it is. Like I always say, if the channel takes off a little bit more, then potentially I'll look into more editing and all that stuff, but I haven't really looked into how to link it up. So if you guys have some time, you got an extra second, please check out SSL Family Dad. He had an awesome video on the radiator build to pump water from outside to wood stove to back inside warm through a radiator and push it through a fan. I had the idea, and so I YouTubed it like I do everything that I'm about to do. I always look to see, can I learn from someone else's experience? And sure enough, it popped up, and SSL Family Dad had the video. So I was really excited. So I checked out his video, and I learned a lot from his video. So thank you very much for putting that video out. If you helped no one else, know that you helped me. I really appreciate you for that. And so it gave me more confidence to go and spend the money and buy the materials that I need to do what we're about to do today. So I couldn't bring, I have a wood burner sitting out back the lab. I could not bring it inside due to insurance purposes and stuff like that. The insurance is going to go up. They're going to want a professional guy to come and install it. You got to use like triple wall this and la la la. And I really don't have the space, honestly, to put it in anywhere in the lab anyway. So we're going to try to do the whole pump it out, pump the water out, put it back in, our antifreeze, whatever we're going to use, to push it out, to pull it back in, to use it through the radiator and see if we can get warm air that way and see if it will or will not heat the lab. So, because last season, a lot of money got spent heating the shop, heating my lab last season. So, a lot of excessive money got spent doing it. Granted, you know, I do a lot of side work in here, so it kind of balanced itself out financially, but I don't want to do that again this season at all. So we're going to try this out, man. But guys, don't forget, check out SSL Family Dad. Check out his YouTube channel. Seems like a cool dude. He's actually doing a lot of stuff that we're actually getting into. The hydroponic video, if you guys are following along, we're doing hydroponics because hydroponics, if it goes well, we're going to turn that into aquaponics. So, and he's already doing that kind of stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. So I'm pretty sure I'll be checking out a lot more of his videos to see what he's up to learn from some of those experiences. So big shout out to them. So let's get started. This is what we're going to do. I have 3/8 outside diameter 20-foot copper. We're going to somehow or another manipulate this through the top of my wood stove. We're going to put it in. We're going to pull the tips out of it. Probably cut a little whatever out of the flute. I don't know, cut a little section out of the flute to get these to stick out, or the chimney, if you will, to get this to stick out. And then we'll put fittings on them. We're going to connect those fittings to the PTEX, and then we're going to run the PTEX to this window, and then we're going to go from there. The PTEX is going to go to the hose. The hose is going to go to the pump. On the other end of the PTEX, we're going to do these to the radiator, and it'll flow through the radiator, and at the bottom of the radiator, we're going to use another one to a hose to go back into the bucket or whatever it is we decide to use. Because I have no idea what we're going to use just yet. We're just going to get started because I have to get to work today a little bit later on this afternoon. So we're going to see how far we get with this particular experiment. So I think in a long shot I want to use a cooler because of its properties of heating and cooling. Well, a cooler, it holds ice and it holds all that stuff and holds your beers or drinks, whatever it is you got, holds them cold. Well, if you put hot water in it, it'll actually keep that hot water warm too due to the thermal properties of a cooler. So I think I might want to use a cooler, drill a couple holes in it to help keep the water as warm as possible while going in and out. Unlike SSL Family Dad, he had dug his lines into the ground. Well, we're not going to dig the lines into the ground here. We're just going to run them right outside of the lab here and up the window, and you'll see this. And I'm going to insulate them. Just a little bit of insulation. It's not that far of a run, and I'm going to see how it's going to work. Like because I don't want to dig them in. I don't want to dig them into the ground here for a number of different reasons that I won't get into. But we don't want to dig it into the ground here. So let's get started. Okay, so this is out back of the lab here, and this is the wood burner that I spoke to you guys about. I'll give you guys a better view of it in a little bit here. So this is what we're going to try to do. Is I'm going to put this down into here because on the top of this guy, there's like a I don't know what you would call it in a wood burner or what it's referred to as, but there's like a shelf in here that so the flame just hits that shelf and then it bellows around that, the smoke and everything bellows around that shelf and then comes up. I'm not really too sure of the technical term for that or anything like that. Guys, feel free to comment or leave something in the what's the name. But what I have determined is we're just going to try to squeeze this in here. So I put this piece up through the middle so it has somewhere to go, and I'm just going to try to pretty much, it's already in a round shape here. It comes in a coil shape. I'm just going to try to maybe just crank it down in here somehow, and that's about it. All right, so we put the chimney on. I just put 2 holes right here, just 2 holes in this guy, and just put the copper right through it. It wasn't a big deal. Literally, I marked it. You see a little black mark right there? I marked it. I pulled this back out. I drilled 2 half-inch holes, and even though this is 3/8, I wanted a little room to play with, so it wasn't too tight to get it in or out, or to get it out, or to get it in through this or whatever. And that's it. Now we're just going to go ahead and put some fittings on these and then connect the P-Tex. Let's do this. I actually put one of the fittings on outside. One of the compression fittings I've actually already put on outside. I'm going to actually install the Shark Bite push to connect fitting. I think these are called, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are just push to connect. This is what the P-Tex is going to just push into to connect the P-Tex. This is a compression fitting, which don't hold me to this, but I'm almost sure you can't use a compression fitting twice. So this is the compression fitting that's going to go on the other end of the copper. I've already put one on, like I said. I just feel as though it might be a little bit more convenient for me to put this on right now and then just connect this to the copper. The other one that's already on, you'll see it in a moment. We're going to do that. But for now, I just want to go ahead and just tighten these guys up on here so that way when this one goes on, this is already connected to it. I just put the P-Tex to it and we're going to call it a day. So let's cinch them down. This is widened up a little bit. And I also coated it in Teflon too. And the other one we're going to put on the outside, I also coated it in Teflon too, just as a help. I don't know if it's going to melt due to the hot water going through it or not. I'm really not too sure about those things, but we're going to find out. At worst case scenario, it's just Teflon. It's just going to melt if it does melt at all. It may be heat tolerance to that. I don't know. Haven't done the research on it, but if it'll help, it'll help. If not, it's just going to melt. It's outside. We're not too worried about it. So let's go outside and put these on. So back outside here, let's pull these guys off. And we're going to start with the compression fitting. So the compression fitting, you just have to make sure this is good and square. Make sure that's a good cut on there. You just loosen that up, you know, a little bit. Well, and I'm not a professional, you know, whatever with this, you know, I'm pretty sure this is how it works. You know, correct me if I'm wrong if you want. but I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure it's always worked for me anytime I use the compression fitting. That's it. And I just cinch it down, just keep it nice and firm, like squared up to the top, and then cinch it down. Come on, let's go. Get on there. There we go. And to make sure you're pushing this way on it, and then just cinch it. And that's it. And I usually go until I can't see the threads anymore, and then that's it. And if it leaks in any fashion, you just come back and retighten it up just a little bit more. But typically, they work just fine. I'm not a plumber. We call it the lab because everything's an experiment most of the times. But I've used these before, so it's not that much of an experiment for me. But in case I'm wrong, or some plumber's watching this and wants to, you know, be super anal about it, whatever, sorry. There we go. Can't see that one anymore. Oh, why all this thing is so good and tight on here? There we go. This is the one, like I told you before, I had already put on. Voila. Now, I'm just going to pull this P-Tex. I'm going to drop it here because the window's right above us. I don't think you can see it on video, but the window's right above us. I'm just going to leave this here. I'm going to pull the P-Tex to the wood stove. And then, this is very simply as just make a connection. Shake up the tripod there. And this is a push to connect. Just push it in. Boom. That's it. Connection made. To make my life a little easier, I removed a couple of the window slats, so now I can just take the entire tube, this entire section, and just pass it through and then make a cut on the other end. Well, I bought also, for the record, 100 feet of this, even though we're only running probably 20 feet or so. But overkill is underrated, and I bought these nice nifty little ratcheting cutters to cut this with. I'm going to leave myself plenty of excess slack because I'd rather have too much than not enough in here. So just open these guys nice and wide, and they're just ratcheting. That's it, and they close down and cut. I ran the second line in just like I ran the first one. The bucket's gonna go like right below the window. And we're gonna go ahead and drop the pump in this guy. Let's go ahead and get her in. That's where the pump's gonna go. The hose is gonna connect to the pump. hand tight to the pump. The other end of the hose is going to connect to one of the ends on here via a shark bite. So let's get that connection. Oddly enough, I don't have wrenches here in the lab big enough to fit on these. Actually, I have a 26 millimeter opening wrench, but it's just a little too big. I don't really want to strip it out. And this isn't rocket science. They just got to be nice and snug. I put Teflon, as you see, on this shark bite fitting. And this is a male to a female, so it fits on the other end of the hose like this. And then we just push this connection into it, and pump is connected. I'm going to have to use some of these guys, some of my big boy pliers, to get after this. And we're just going to snug them down. It doesn't have to be over tight. Voila. Same thing on this end. I'm not going to overdo this side. Snug it down really good. Boom. We're ready to pump water from this bucket now into those coils, and then it'll come back out, which I have not cut the other end of this. So I just got to cut this. I just want to determine where the radiator is going to go. So let's go look into that now. So I wanted to correct an error because I don't need this hose here. This hose is actually going to the top part of the end part of the radiator and the exit part of the radiator. Yeah, so this is part of that engineering thing that John and I had went through for a long time, and it just dawned on me as I'm looking at all the parts and everything that's going on. I got this fitting very specifically, so I can take this and connect it right to the pump. And this PVC, our PEX, is pretty rigid, so I'm hoping that when the warm water starts to go through it a little bit, I'm hoping that the warm water will make it more pliable. But we'll see. If not, put a couple anchors right in this wall and just to hold it there for all I care. As long as it works is the most important thing for me. So that's that. Let's make another cut on this guy. We want to give ourselves plenty of slack. This is going to connect to the hose to the radiator. And I don't know, this looks about good enough, I guess. You need square cuts on these guys, just for the record. You want a nice square cut. Sweet. Shark bite, same thing on that side. Shark bite fitting. Boom. It's gonna push it on in. They make a tool to pop these off. I use a wrench, typically speaking. If I gotta get it back off, just use a wrench. Now we're gonna take this end of the hose, and it's gonna go to this guy here. This is out of here. This can come over this way for the sake of stretching of this hose here. Boom. And then boom. And the radiator. We're just going to put it here because I just need to run the experiment. Now this side of the hose is going to connect here. And as always, I learned something. I forgot something at the Home Depot. As always, I'm always forgetting something. The hose clamps. I needed hose clamps for either of these guys. These are just some fittings that happen to fit inside of the radiator. This radiator, for the record also, I guess, came from, oh, it says an Infinity. It came from my local junkyard up the street here. I know the guy Dave over there pretty well, as I do a lot of work on cars also. And I just went in and said I need a radiator, whatever you got, cheapest radiator you got, and this is what he showed up with, or this is what he gave me. Has a couple little, minor spots, but it's a salvage yard. What are you gonna do? So apparently it's out of an Infinity. Does it give me a year? An 06 it looks like, an 06 or something, I don't know, whatever. It's a radiator out of Infinity. These fittings happen to fit in the hose that was already connected. They were cut. I just cut them nice and flush and square and shoved these in. I'm gonna put hose clamps on them, and as you can see, I screwed fittings into them, and I have the valve on it because I think it's gonna be a good idea to be able to adjust the flow. So if I need to slow the water down a little bit to get it to warm up more, or if I need to open it up more so the water's not boiling or anything like that, I think it's good to have some adjustments. So I got adjustments on the in of it, and I have an adjustment on the out of it. In case it has to be adjusted on the in or out, I don't know which one it would have to be adjusted on, as this is an experiment. This is going to get connected to another hose, voila, and it's going to drain right back into our bucket. No Teflon or nothing on these, just hand-tight hoses, a hand-tight hose fitting, that's it. And it's just going to very simply be placed right back into our bucket, boom, to redrain back into it. And that's all she wrote. Boom. So now we can go ahead and plug this pump in. We can go ahead and plug this pump in for now, and go ahead and start running water through this. But unfortunately, I'm out of time as I have to get to the workplace. So you guys won't know it, but for me, you're going to just see a change of clothes probably, but for me, I have to go to work, and on video, it'll just show me jumping right into the experiment of pumping water through this guy. So, that's that. It's time to fill this up with water. I am pretty excited. Like I said before, you guys wouldn't realize it, but this is totally another day on video. Just going to go into this. You're going to notice different colored pants and maybe a haircut. So, which is hilarious. But it is cool. I do want to, however, say it because I couldn't wait to get this done. We're going to go ahead and pump this up with, fill this with water, and we're going to check for leaks and see if anything's going. I already got the pit fire going. I already put some hose clamps on. I stopped at my local Home Depot today, or this morning, and I got the hose clamps, and I got some stovepipe to put on the wood burner. So I'm really, really, really excited about this because I've been waiting since yesterday to do it, and I say it because I would like to still capture that moment for myself personally, that when I look back on these videos, I can sit there and say to myself, oh, I remember that. So I only say it not to help you guys or to benefit you guys, because you guys won't realize it, but I say it so when I look back on these are still memories for me also. So without further ado, let's do this. It is full of water. It has been pumping to the fire and back for roughly, what time is it? 12:17. It has been roughly pumping through the bucket for an hour now. This thing is without a question warm. I put the fan behind it. I turned the fan on to low so it doesn't blow it off too fast. But without a question, guys, success. That's all I can say. Success. I feel that fan blowing me right now. That is warm water. I also opened these up to full bore. I had them kind of turned down a little bit before, but I actually opened them up to see what it would do, if it makes any difference. Does it make the water warmer? Does it circulate faster? Because this is plenty warm. The bucket is steaming. You probably can't see it on video, but if you can, the bucket's actually steaming. So the water is plenty warm. I have two leaky fittings, which is on these big white connections here where the actual the hose goes into the radiator. They're leaking. I'm pretty sure I can just tighten them down and they're going to stop leaking, but I want to ensure success with this overall project before I go fine-tuning it. Also, I think there was it's kind of drizzling outside, but I think there was a slight drip on the compression fitting outside on the copper. So once again, just going to cinch that down if that's the case. And if it is dripping, I'm not really too worried about it. It is outside and it's a small drip, and we're just using water for right now. Now, if I decide that I'm going to keep this pump turned on, I will continue to use water through the winter season. but I highly doubt that. So I'll give you guys a quick tour also, let you guys see the actual run and see the wood stove. Here it is. This is outside the window, and it's just running right here. Now I left myself plenty of slack, and so when I zip tie these guys together, when I zip tie them together and actually insulate them, I'm going to run them nicely along the side back here and all of that good stuff. And I left myself plenty of room, and odds are I'm going to end up moving this wood stove. So, but check it out in all her glory. I picked this up today. Boom. Nice 5-foot piece. See how nice and new it is? That has my dampener on it right there. Boom. So, she's looking good. Look at this thing. How awesome is this wood stove? Look at that animal on the front there. So nice, man. I love this thing. So, this is what it's looking like, guys. So, check it out. But like I said, it's probably going to end up moving. I just want to ensure success with the project. And it is successful, man. So I'm very happy. This is where it's going. Boom. Back through the window into the bucket that you guys have already seen. Well, guys, in conclusion, I would like to point out a few things. In my lab, this is a cinder block wall. So the perimeter of my lab is not insulated. The ceiling, however, it is insulated. So I don't know if this is going to keep up, but we will find out as the experiment will continue. It's a success 100%. This is an alternative source of heating. Now, once you acquire all the items to get this done, for the most part, this is free after that. You just have to be able to provide yourself with wood, which you can check your resources out, check your local Craigslist on the free section, pallets, whatever, guys. It's just burning wood at that point, which hopefully you can get for free. Me, I'm on a couple acres here where I can just grab my chainsaw, go to any down tree out there, cut it up, split it, and use it, period. So this is going to work out very well for me for heating the lab. I hope this can work out for someone else to heat your lab, because this is free. At this point now, I'm going to build a structure in a different episode. We'll build something to put this in to make it look a little more decorative, not overly decorative, but a little more decorative. Just and give it functionality somewhere here in the lab. Also, I set this up to take a manifold so I can run another radiator just off garden hose. Put a manifold in, run a garden hose to another radiator, same kind of setup as these guys are, and then run the garden hose back to another manifold that goes to the bucket, back to the bucket. So if it works out well and it's enough to support 2 radiators, I can put another radiator on the other side of the lab to help keep the heat in here moderate. I want to say I don't expect this thing to get the lab up to 85 degrees. Even after a 10-hour workday here in the lab, I don't expect it to be that warm. I just want it to be comfortable. Like, I'll take 60s, 50, high 50s, low 60s. I'm hoping I can see something like that in the dead of winter when there's snow on the ground and it's freezing outside. I'm hoping that it'll just do that, but we will see what happens, and you guys will know because I will keep you posted on it. And that's it, guys. I got nothing. I'm so excited this did work, though. It is an alternative source, and it does work. Also, this doesn't have to necessarily heat a lab. It can heat a small tool shed. Oh, it can heat a greenhouse. I have a greenhouse. That might be another experiment. I like where this is going, actually. Or you can doll this up, if you will, and make, put something over this to make it look a lot cleaner and neater, and maybe take the air conditioner out the window and put it in place of it with the fan and all of that good stuff, and shut the window down on it, and and maybe have an alternative source of heat for your house. Save a few bucks. A little coin in the pocket is always a good thing. So I'm really excited, and that's going to conclude this video, guys. So stay tuned for what we do to where we're going to put this and all that good stuff like that, and stay tuned for more videos, guys. Thanks for watching, and SSL Family Dad once again, thanks a bunch, man. Awesome video. I hope you check this one out to see what I came up with. And YouTube, talk to you guys later, all right?